Well, thank you for agreeing to do this, first of all. Do you mind just quickly, briefly explaining who you are and your sort of setup at home, your home life?
Yeah, so I'm Hannah, married to Johnny, and or Johnny has two daughters who are 14 and 11, and we live in Godalming in Surrey. Um, and we moved out of London in 2020, lived in a tiny rental for a couple of years, and then managed to move last year into a home that we bought and what we hope will be our forever home.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and it was built in 1980, but very much 70s style. So it's a big box with big windows with lots of light, but still, yeah, still quite dated inside and ready for a refresh.
Okay. And so when you approached me and An Artful
Mhm.
Life, where were you on your project?
Um, right in the early stages of looking for. So we knew when we bought that we wanted to reconfigure and very probably do a ground floor extension. Um, and when we moved in at the end of the summer last year and then start of this year, we agreed to start like speaking to different architects to try and find someone to work with who would help design the project for us. Um, so so you and An Artful Life were, we didn't speak to loads of people, but you were one of the kind of small number of people that we spoke to after spotted a post of yours on a Facebook group that we're both part of and had a nosy at your website and just absolutely loved. I don't know, the style you seem to work with or lean towards just like really, really resonated with us. So that was kind of why we thought it was worth reaching out and having a conversation.
And did you have any sort of concerns about working with an interior designer or?
Um, no, and to be honest, we weren't looking for an interior designer. We were looking for um as in we weren't specifically looking for an interior designer. We were
Yeah.
we were looking for something broader than that. And got the sense you offered that. I think our only concern was finding the right person to, I mean, finding the right person to work with who would kind of get us and could be a really good um collaborator. And then the other thing was just really starting with no idea of what the costs involved would be from a professional design point of view.
Yeah. Um, you got our sort of project pack, didn't you? Which includes a bit of help on project costs within that pack.
Um, yes, and I think we'd we found that like my parents had done an extension a couple of years ago up north, and the architect they'd worked with them was on based on a percentage of build costs,
Yeah.
and I think that was our expectation going in, and we realised it didn't seem to be. It just seems that that's not how the market works either in this part of the country or just anymore, and it was more going towards fixed price costs for design work. So I think we were really, really feeling our way on what felt like a sensible amount of money for us to spend on the professional fees, given
Mhm.
the total budget we had for the entire build. And
Yeah.
it had to be a balance and it had to be a compromise.
Yeah.
So I think that was just the reality check, and that was so one of our reasons for speaking to a few different people was it was really kind of finding the right fit, but also finding that kind of right balance cost wise as well. And it was hard to find the two, but I think the solution we've come up with is actually works really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Hope so. How has it been working with me?
Just really enjoyable. And I don't know, I think like you've helped us to be like braver and ambitious in our thinking, and you've really helped us to really, really think through what we want, what's important, what we're aiming for, and what, like, how to kind of like to be kind of brave in going for something that feels a little bit special.
Yeah.
And I think that's been, and that's the real thing that I think stood out from so your website's been so helpful in terms of trying to get a sense of who you are and the projects that you work with and what you aim for. And there was just something about, and it's really hard to pinpoint, but something about the kind of the quality and the detail in your design that has like really inspired us to be quite brave and think about things that we might not have thought about
Mhm.
otherwise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's good. So that sort of answers my next question, which was going to be,
Okay.
where do you think you would have been if you'd gone it alone, so to speak? So I
Um,
guess not, just a bit more basic, maybe not quite as.
it's hard to know because I'm honestly such a researcher.
You did say that, yeah.
um, but I think maybe I think possibly less focused actually, and almost less brave. I think that's the thing. I think it's you've really helped us hone down, and that first mood board you sent us was, my God, we spent weeks poring over that and working out, really challenging ourselves on what felt like us, what adjustments we would make, really honing down, and then being quite, I don't know, I think we're quite clear that we now want to go for that overall feel. So I think it's possibly slightly less focused, but also less brave. And I think as a result of working with you, we will have details in our design that we otherwise wouldn't have thought about or wouldn't have been brave enough to confident enough to pursue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like you will, you're sort of on route to getting a better outcome and better result
Yeah,
now?
totally. Totally. And I know it's early stages because we haven't got we haven't got the concepts from Resi through yet and things like that. And I sense we might value some kind of input further down the line. We're sort of feeling out, we've just never done this before. We're feeling our way.
Yeah,
But it's just so helpful having you as a kind of expert kind of there and on our shoulder. We do both really value it. Johnny said that as well.
thank you.